7 machines, no script, 1 table, 1 person. Yeah, we're going to be doing a little bit of ranking on here. Well, in fact, I'm going to be telling you the biggest pro and cons of every CPAP machine that we sell on RespShop.com. So strap in, we're going to have a nice little conversation today. Go a bit one-on-one, tell you what I think, peel back the curtain a little bit behind every machine. Well, hi, I'm Ruben from RespShop, and we've been around since 2008 and our home base in Redmond, Washington, serving over 1 million people with their CPAP needs, which very often includes helping them choose the right CPAP machine to be successful in their therapy. We're on YouTube, of course, but we're also on Facebook and Instagram, so go say hi to us over there as well. All right, let's get started. I've done some ranking videos in the past of CPAP machines. This one's a little bit different, and also the lineup has changed since the last one of those we've done as well. Since last year, we've had 2 pretty big changes within the CPAP lineup. Number 1, the Breeze Z2 is being discontinued, so we've replaced that with this here. This is the Luna TravelPAP. And also the Transcend Micro has been updated. This is now the Micro 510, so it's a bit of a new unit, just recently on the market, so I have some exciting things to tell you about that one. So, we have here tried and true AirSense 10, the AirSense 11, both from ResMed, as well as the AirMini, their travel option. We've got the Transcend Micro 510, we've got the Apex XT, or as I like to call it, the Hungry Hippos CPAP. We've got the Luna TravelPAP, and we have the RespLus. So we're going to start with the ResMed AirMini, this guy here. Now this is the most popular travel CPAP machine available, obviously from a market-leading manufacturer, ResMed. I think the biggest pro of this unit is the user experience, including the app that comes with it. There are other travel CPAPs out there, but the big miss on a lot of them is the app control that you have. Often it's very clunky, it's difficult. The Transcend Micro, you have to have desktop software if ever you want to change the pressure settings on a unit like that. The AirMini app is a lot easier. Now, the actual AirMini app itself does sometimes cause issues, but overall, you can use the My Air app as well. There's a whole range of an ecosystem there with ResMed that you just beat everything else. I like there's only 2 buttons on here. It's minimalist, it's a nice design, it's easy, there are nice accessories for it. You can attach this to your headboard, you can mount this to your wall, there's a mount that lets you put it underneath your mattress and keep it in place. Overall, I just still think that the AirMini is the best CPAP travel option available, but it does have cons. First and foremost, it is quite noisy. Now, travel machines tend to be noisier than the large at-home machines anyway, because they're just smaller physically, and so they can't have the same sound abatement foam that you would get in these type of machines. But there are places within the AirMini, particularly with the Humid X filter capsule, that can often leak out air and make a sort of a hissing sound, and it can be an issue. Now, we do sell a noise-reducing kit that you can buy to offset some of that, but let's face it, you shouldn't have to purchase additional accessories to get a machine working in a way that's a better user experience. So that's a big con with the AirMini. The other con with the AirMini is that its price point is definitely the highest of all the travel machine options. So you are paying in part, I think, just for the brand name, and it's not always easy to justify that cost when you actually look at the nuts and bolts of what makes up a machine like this. So if you have the budget and you want the best travel machine that there is, I would definitely steer you towards the AirMini, but there are definitely other options out there for you if some of those cons I just mentioned sound like they would put you off a machine like this. So let's talk about one of those other travel machines. Let's talk about the Transcend Micro 510. Now, like I said, that's the newest machine on this table that I have here. And it's also the smallest machine on the market. As you can tell, Transcend say it's about the size of a baseball, and it totally is. It can fit in the back of your pocket. You could throw this in your bag when you're traveling. It's really portable. It's really easy to just set up. So if you're someone that travels a lot and just wants something small and light, you can just chuck in your backpack. That is a really nice benefit of this machine. It also has micro tubing, so the accessories and things that come with it are designed to make this as small a footprint as possible. Also, with the 510, the new Micro, Transcend has introduced a new 3-year warranty on the machine, which is the best in the industry from any of these devices. It's a better warranty than you'd get with an AirSense 11 even. And they also introduced a few different color options, which are pretty fun as well. Now, I've used the Micro a fair bit, and I will say I do have some things about this machine that I don't particularly like. First and foremost, I feel like it's not particularly robust, but maybe Transcend have come up with the solutions to that. and that's why they're offering a 3-year warranty. I'm excited to continue to test with this machine and see if it's better. But beyond me feeling like it's a little bit fragile, also just these buttons on here are kind of clunky, and just sometimes it's just a little bit, to use it feels just a little bit awkward. And especially when it comes to the software, the app is not great. And like I said, if you want to adjust any of your therapy settings in conjunction with your doctor, or if you've spoken to them about that, it's really not easy to do. You have to do it on a Windows machine. The software looks very old, and none of that has been updated, even with the re-release of this machine. So a bit of a disappointment there. I was hoping that when we heard that Transcend were releasing a new machine, that the whole ecosystem would have improved, but it hasn't. Also, it's very light, and there's no rubberized base on this, so it is a little bit slippery on tables. So if it's very light, and if you have a micro tubing and you move around a lot in the night, it can pull off. And it's actually not of a low price point machine either. So just some things to keep in mind. I would be using a mat on your nightstand if you can, or if you're traveling, get double-sided Velcro or some way to keep this a bit more anchored on your nightstand. I would highly recommend that you do that. So that's my opinion on the Transcend. Up next, we're going to talk about this guy, the Apex XT. Now, this is pretty unique because this CPAP machine can be a travel machine, like the two we just spoke about, by removing it from its base unit right here, this base plate, which is actually normally quite easy. And this now becomes a travel device. But when you're using it at home and you want to have the humidifier option, then it just pops right back on, in like so. We connect, and away we go as a full at-home machine that has a humidifier. So it has kind of this hybrid flexibility about it. So you can use it for traveling and at home, saving you having to buy 2 machines. And price point on this is much lower than any of the other ones that we've spoke about. So even as a backup machine, maybe you have this as a backup machine for a travel or a home machine, it would work great for that. So I think all of this just makes the Apex XT all around one of the most affordable options out there, and it does what it's supposed to do with minimal fuss. I actually really like the XT as a solid base option for a CPAP machine. Now, I talked about the apps for these other travel devices. With the Apex XT, there is no app. There's no Wi-Fi. There's none of that connectivity that you get with some of these other devices. There's no Bluetooth on here either, so you can't control it remotely, and there's no app that you can use to change settings remotely on this machine. So all your data from your usage was going to go into an SD card that slips in the back of the unit. But if you want to view that data, you're going to have to unplug that SD card, put it in, look at a software like Oscar, or give it directly to your doctor. There's really only manual ways to track data and to keep on top of it. It just becomes a little bit more difficult to adjust settings as needed to get your sleep therapy ideal for you. This is more of just a set it and forget it type machine, and your therapy isn't in your hands the same way that it is with some of these other machines. So if that sounds like appealing to you, if you find that you don't go into those sort of settings, then the Apex XT could be a great option, especially if you're trying to find a machine on a budget. But if you want to dive in a little bit more, this might not be the right machine for you. Okay, let's switch it up. I'm going to talk about the ResMed AirSense 10. Now, this is the most tried and tested, dependable machine on this table here in front of me. It's been very popular since its release, which was over 10 years ago. And ResMed still makes a lot of these. ResMed still sells a lot of these. And because they last a long time, funnily enough, there will be a warning if you've used your AirSense 10 for a while and you've ever gotten that motor life exceeded warning on this machine. Just be aware that that's a built-in feature from ResMed to tell you that you need to update your machine. In fact, you don't need to worry about that at all. Just disregard that message. Keep getting many years of use out of this machine. So tried and true, great option for new users and experienced users alike. In fact, it typically on most CPAP websites, it's the most well-reviewed CPAP machine that you'll find out of any of these on the table. Now, it does have a couple cons still. I think that it's overpriced, honestly, for a machine that's over 10 years old. And it has the same price point as some of these newer, more premium machines as well, but it doesn't have some of those premium features. Like, it doesn't have a touch screen. It's all done on this dial, like clicking in and out. It has a little bit of a dated experience with it, but a lot of people are more than happy to overlook that for the great benefits that using this machine comes with. And it does still have connectivity. You can still change settings remotely. You still get access to the ResMed ecosystem of apps. So overall, great choice. Let's go to the other end of our table and talk about a machine at the other end of the spectrum, the RespLus. Now, this looks more like a device you would see at a hospital. This is the most budget-friendly option on the table here. It's the cheapest CPAP that we offer at RespShop. ResMed.com, but it has all the same core functionality that you would expect with a device, and it would make a great backup device. Or if you're brand new to CPAP therapy and you don't know yet what you most care about, as a first option to just get used to the sensation and get used to what you like in a CPAP machine, what you want to then invest in at a later date, great option for that. Like I said, it's pretty bulky. It's going to use up a lot of space on your nightstand. It's not something you're going to be able to travel with at all. But it also does come apart if you do really need to. There's a button on the back here. As you can see, it separates into two. This is the humidifier, and then this is the unit. So you could use it without the humidifier if you want to make it slightly more portable, but even this is not really a great portable option. So I don't see many people using it for that case scenario. So bit like something from a 1960s sci-fi, but overall, solid machine, low price point, has what you need. It's worth looking at if that sounds like something that you're after. Now let's go to the most well-received, well-known machine you've probably seen on this table here. The AirSense 11 is the market-leading CPAP machine now. It's got a great look, it feels very premium, it has the nice touch of the finish of the machine, it has this rubberized base keeping it well on your nightstand, and this machine really was a very successful successor to the highly popular AirSense 10. This is what really helped ResMed fill in that gap from Philips when their DreamStation machines, well, if you don't know, they're now no longer available. That's all you need to know. Now, this has nearly all of the latest features that you would want, but it does have some things about it that make people get rather frustrated, and I understand that. First and foremost, we hear a lot of people complaining about the water chamber on this machine. It's quite badly designed, as you can see. I don't know if you can see from there, but as this chamber goes down here, the lip goes down, where the max line is for the water here is kind of right up on the edge of the plastic of the inner chamber of this water chamber, and so sometimes it can get spilled here very easily. There are a couple little hacks you can do to try and help with that, but it just feels a little unnecessary to have to be using a hack to do a very basic functionality of filling up a water chamber on a CPAP machine, considering that's one of the primary things that you need to do with a machine, especially when it's a premium machine like the AirSense 11. I also just feel like they could have made the water chamber bigger. Strictly speaking, it has the same capacity size as the AirSense 10, and I've put that to the test. It is true, but it would have been nice that they could maybe elongated this out a little longer, because some people find that the water, especially if they use high humidity settings on their machine, doesn't last them through the night. There's just a few kind of easy misses on the AirSense 11 that are frustrating, because everything else about this machine I do really love. It's easy to use, it feels nice to use, and you feel like you're using a premium machine. But little things like the hose at the back of the machine comes out straight, whereas on the AirSense 10, it was at a 90-degree angle, just means that you can't put this machine as close to your wall on your nightstand, and it's a little bit more awkward in certain situations. Things that would have been easy to solve and got made worse, honestly, from the 10 to the 11. That's slightly frustrating, but this is still my go-to machine, my favorite machine on this table. However, I know many users out there might disagree with me on that one. Okay, last but not least is our newest machine in this lineup. It's the Luna TravelPAP. Now, this is really designed to be an AirMini competitor. It's a similar price point, and it doesn't have the brand recognition behind it. But I've got to say, the amount I've used this machine so far, which is a little more limited, I'll be honest, I've been really pleased with it. It's not proprietary technology, which is a massive win over the AirMini. With the AirMini, you have to use their tubing, their compatibility, their HME filters. Whereas the Luna TravelPAP, you've got much more access to the kind of masks that you might want, to generic HME filters. You're not buying in to the ResMed brand as much, which I like, but it still feels like a nice premium machine. The app is really nice, and the early evidence is overall this is going to be a strong competitor as long as people are willing to adopt going with a newer brand that has less recognition but still a higher price point. Honestly, if you were deciding between the Micro and the Luna TravelPAP, currently I would say I'd be leaning more towards the Luna TravelPAP unless you really need that portability. So it's not as tried and tested as some of these other machines out here, and is slightly larger and heavier even than the AirMini, not by much, and it's also not cheaper and it's not quieter either. So kind of depends what you're looking for there. But as the machine itself feels solid, it has nice design, it has nice packaging. There's been a lot of thought put into this machine clearly, and the app experience I find to be very, very good. So I would recommend this machine to you if you're someone who likes to try something a little bit different and an early adopter of things, give the Lunar TravelPAP a go. I think you'll be quite impressed. I have been. Okay, well that about covers it. I think gone over every machine that we sell. Of course, you can find all of these on RespShop.com, and I'll leave links to all of them below. This one was a little bit more of just a nice casual chat and conversation with you guys. I would love it if this conversation was two-way. Get in the comments below. Tell me what you think about my chosen pros and cons for each machine. Where do you disagree with me? What machine do you use? And what do you most like about it or not like about it? Give some insights to your fellow CPAPers, and I'll see you on the next one. In the meantime, sleep tight. Bye-bye for now.